check, baby. One check, baby. Yeah. All right. So, wait for somebody to get here. See what's up. Nice to be. Greetings. So I decided I'll just put my full name up. That's going to be my channel from now on. Today's my dad's birthday, and I've been using all these different aliases, whatever, and kind of not wanting people to know my middle name and all this shit, because it's like, I don't want to be fucking tracked by goddamn trolls, okay? Try not to curse. I was thinking about my dad, keep it positive. But to honor him, I'm just going to do that with my channel. And that way, my full name's out there. People know who I am. That's my real name, Robert Frank Stevens. That's right. Freely spoken. So let's see. Robert is one with bright fame or associated with Robin Hood. Frank is someone who is freely spoken. And then Stevens is crown. And I'm like, okay. But it was Fitzstevens, and then there's all these add-ons and changes in names. You're like, how the hell do I even track this shit, right? Because in medieval times, they just spelled shit how it sounded. You're like, okay, well, sometimes it was like my grandfather's last name. My father, was Stevens. That's where I get that last name. But my grandmother's last name was Bierling. Okay, so that's interesting. It's English, and that would have had to do with a specific trade, right? So let's say you were a Thatcher, maybe your name would be Henry Thatcher, right? Something like that. And saw that second person. I always wondered who that is. Like, they pop in and then they pop out. Like, I don't know. I left the chat open just in case somebody wanted to talk to me, but generally for privacy, just for the sake of the people that show up, I will go ahead and privatize that chat afterwards. I don't leave it up, generally speaking, because I don't have a ton of people coming through and commenting or really saying much, And yeah. Today I knocked over my seagull. It's like, just broke off one of the tuning heads. Didn't really damage it too much, but kind of bummed me out, but it's symbolic in a way, Just saying, okay, I'm just going to claim my given name and just have that be the channel. I haven't done that in a while, Went through, you kind of go through different stages sometimes. Naming your channel, whatever, Oh, man. Okay. I want to look this up just for fun. See, to me, this is about a personal connection, I want to really hone in on that versus, say we're going to go to House of Names and read about Bierling. Ooh, I know. It's weird to some people, but I'm a hardcore genealogy nerd. Okay, fine. I love it. It's because of my dad. I know. Okay, we're going to look at Bierling because I know Stevens is related to a knight or something, but it just depends on what the origin is. So without my dad here, it makes it harder. So here we go. It is Bierling is a English or German line going down. So this would be my mom's, my dad's mom. Okay, that's her last name. Now, the German state of Bavaria is the ancestral home of the Bierling family. So right there, you can see, whoa. See, in our crest has a bear on it. I didn't even pay attention to that. Look, before I had that bear sitting up there, I'm like, whoa. Okay. But that was kind of a new advent, or crests and things like that. Okay. But if you think about the bear being very Viking-esque, attached to that, okay. I have no idea what the actual origins are. Now, more than likely, it is English. Okay. As far as I know, that's what my dad told me. So it's not the German side of that. Alrighty? It is the English side of it. And I'm remembering things. Okay. Because the other side of it would be a different bloodline. Totally. And that's where the difficulty comes in with all of the disruption, right? Battle of Hastings. So here we go. Early origins of the Bierling family. The surname Bierling was first found in Norfolk, where they held a family seat as lords of the manor. Okay. The Norman influence on English history prevailed after the Battle of Hastings in 1066. The language of the courts was French for the next 3 centuries. See, and that's where a lot of changes came in, where now it's harder to track shit, to actually know what is it, right? All right. 3 centuries and the Norman ambience prevailed. The family name was first referenced in the 13th century when Sir John Bjergelund held estates in that shire in 1243. Okay. But then you've got the personal history, right? Okay. Now, if you would say you had a bunch of people living in the same area doing the same trade, catch it? They might not even have the same origins, but got the same last name. So what's that mean, right? Like I looked up the last name Rydberg just for the sake of doing it. Woodland Mountain. So I'm like, well, what is that connected into? That's Swedish. But someone else could come in, right, and attach themselves to a name. So how do you know? Without being an expert on that, you don't. I don't either. So it's like kind of muddy water, you know what I'm saying? It's difficult to even know what the truth is. After so many wars, okay, Bierling migration to Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Okay. Let's see. Contemporary notables of the name Bierling. Peter Bierling, American politician. Okay, whatever. I don't know. That's just one. Let's see. Should I grab my pie chart just for the heck of doing it? Sure. Why not? Okay. No. Because I'm like, no, I'm going to find something I don't like, and I'll be all, no. So let's see. Look up. See, because I've got Larson. That goes back into all my Swedish stuff. And then one step up from that would be Hicks, right? Like Bill Hicks. Oh my God, his comedy routine back in the day. Holy shit, that dude would make me laugh my ass off. Okay, so here's Hicks. All right. This is on my mom's side. The origins of the name Hicks are from the ancient Anglo-Saxon culture of Britain. It is derived from the son of Richard. Okay. In Old English, patronyms were formed by adding a variety of suffixes to a personal name, which changed over time. See, and that's where you have your issue. How do you know? Too many changes, right? From place to place, so change, right? For example, after the Norman conquest, Sunu or Sunni, which meant son, the most common patronymic suffixes. So that changes things, right? In the 12th century and 13th centuries, the most common patronymic names included the word filius. So that looks like Latin to me, right? Which meant son. In the 14th century, the suffix son had replaced these earlier versions, surnames that were formed with filius or son were more common in the North of England, and was here that the number of individuals without surnames was greatest at this time. See? So there's your issue. How do you know? Anyway, the surname Hicks was first found in Yorkshire. Okay. So anyway, that isn't that. That's like it says ancient Anglo-Saxon. So, okay. Ooh, let's see. Hicks spelling variations. Here we go. Sound was what guided spelling in essentially pre-literate Middle Ages. So one person's name was often recorded under several variations during a single lifetime. Now, wouldn't that make it easier to simply just change your last name? Would it matter? Same thing could have been done in Sweden. You just pick a last name, right? Just like Smith or whatever. Well, what did that mean? More than likely, it meant that your family were Smiths. They did metal work or something. So let's say. But I've also found this in that Swedish names are hard to come by as far as research, like English. There's a shitload of information, right? So it's like you have to find a specific database that specializes in Nordic background, right? Okay. Going down. Look at this. Give me just a second. I'm looking for something. Well, let's see. We'll look up origin of names. Okay. Origin. I'm looking something up. I'll tell you what it is. Just give me a second. All right. So something popped up here. Johannes Rydberg. See? So that name could be used by multiple people. How do you know what their origins are? See what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. Ancestry.com, huh? Swedish, so it says Rydberg. Swedish ornamental name composed of place name element, Ryd, woodland clearing, okay, plus berg, that means mountain. Oh, another variation, Roberg, whatever, different ones. So you see, the point that I'm making here is like, it's like saying that you know everything about somebody because their last name is Smith, and you don't. Got it? Kind of interesting there, right? Now let's see if there's more information. Let's find something else. So that was what, Ancestry.com, whatever. Rydberg family history, ancientfaces.com. Clicking on that. So it would be my grandmother on my mom's side. Her mom was Selma Rydberg Dillon, but there was that breakdown of that gentleman whose status was so high, right, that he had to be adopted because love was not allowed between those two because of status, right? So that marriage really doesn't have anything to do with love, right? And I think you get in trouble with that, right? Yeah. So, it'd be funny if my grandmother popped up as like one of the oldest ones. Well, I think she was like 93, 94. She lived a long time. But I also feel like it depends on how actively were you using your brain. So let's see. Ira Griswold Dillon. That's my grandmother's grandfather. And then he married, let's see, last name Brundage. All right. That sounds English to me. I've gotten good at that. Like I could just figure it out by how the name sounds. But I lost contact with a lot of that, and I wish that I would like to have a copy of all my dad's records, but it's been like 8 years. Okay, so Brundage, yep, see, I'm right. That's English. All right. Brundage's name is descended through the generations from the ancient Anglo-Saxon culture. Name comes from having lived in Brundish, okay, the parish near the county of Suffolk. Hmm. Brundage. All right, moving along. So now I've got all these. Let's see. Gustav Svensson Rydberg. Now he, I think, is the one that was adopted. And then he was married to Carolina Peter's daughter. Hildur Nelly Rydberg. All right. So that would have been my grandmother's mother. So that was the Swedish and Irish fusion, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's it's like I have Swedish on both sides, right? Mm-hmm. And then when the Irish came here, they changed their names because of discrimination. So let's say Dylan might have been O. Dylan. So here's the funny part. I am literally Bob O. Dylan. Not really, but kind of. Right. All right. Dylan history, family crest, and coat of arms. Interesting. Surname is one of the Anglo-Norman names that arrived in Ireland in the wake of 12th century invasion by Richard Strongbow. The surname Dillon belongs to the large category of Anglo-Norman habitation names, which are derived from pre-existing names for towns. You might have also changed your last name just, protect yourself, whatever. Let's see, originally these place names were prefixed by day, which means from in French. The name of Dillon comes from the name of the town of Lyon, central France. In France, the name may also have been a nickname for a fierce or brave warrior, as derived from the Old French word lion, which meant lion. The Irish Gaelic form of the surname Dillon is Diolún. So, more than likely, there were shifts in name spelling. Okay, here we go. Surname Dillon was first found in Drumroney in County Westmeath, Irish, and Larmhe in the Irish Midlands province of Leinster, where they were the barons of Drumroney. The Dillon family is descended from Sir Henry de Leon, a member of a noble Breton family. These are the Bretons are ancient. It came to Ireland in 1185. Again, that is post Charlemagne. Like I use that as a marker in history. Yep. In the service of the Earl of Morton, who later became King John. For de Leon's service, King John granted him MacCarran's territory, part of Annalee, and other vast possessions, including a castle at Dunamont. Now, do I have any direct relation to this? I don't know. Probably. Who knows? It's what they write. Okay. This is probably where it comes in. Dillon migration to the United States. During the middle of the 19th century, Irish families often experienced extreme poverty and racial discrimination in their own homeland under English rule. Record numbers died of disease and starvation, and many others deciding against such a fate. Boarded ships bound for North America. The largest influx of Irish settlers occurred with the Great Potato Famine of the late 1840s. Pause there. I would say that was engineered to drive them off the land and take land, but that's my opinion. That was not an accident. Unfortunately, many of those Irish that arrived in Canada or the United States still experienced economic and racial discrimination. Although often maligned, these Irish people were essential to the rapid development of these countries because they provided the cheap labor required for the many canals, roads, railways, and other projects required for strong national infrastructures. Eventually, the Irish went on to make contributions in the less backbreaking and more intellectual arenas of commerce, education, and the arts. Research early immigration and passenger lists revealed many early immigrants bearing the name Dillon. Okay. And this is from houseofnames.com. All right. I like to go there to research. Now let's see. But it's hard because you see a lot of Norman type overwrite, and I get to the point of like, well, what is the background, right? Let's see. Anything else I want to look up here? Let's do that. Another name we'll look up. We'll look up Gorsuch. Be fun. Oop, yep, England again. Yeah. Early origins. The Gorsuch family. Surname Gorsuch was first found in Lancashire at Gosfordsike, later named Gorsuch. It was a given name by Walter de Scarisbrick. Okay, Scarisbrick. To his younger son, took the local surname subsequently. Let's see. Prior. There we go. May 8, 1292, an agreement was sealed for the marriage of Robert, son of Walter de Gorsuch, with Agnes, granddaughter of William Brid Donington. That's interesting, but I would consistently see the name Robert pop up all over the place. I'm like, gee, I wonder why my dad named me that, you know what I mean? So it's like the way he named me directly linked me into these different names and bloodlines. Here we go. Let's look this up. Last name Farr. Here's a trip with that. Is I ended up with a friend with that last name. Okay, and then some years went by, and I didn't know, but I ended up making friends with his cousin. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, it's trippy. You know? All right. I never met him before. You know, I was later in life. Met him at the drum circle or something. The name Farr is part of the ancient legacy of the Anglo-Saxon tribes of Britain. Farr was a name used for a person who is described as being fierce, okay, or lusty, okay. The surname is derived from the Old English word far, which meant bold. So that would mean like possibly you had cattle, right, or land. Okay. Early origins of the Farr family. The surname Farr was first found in Yorkshire, while most researchers believe that the name is Anglo-Saxon in origin. Okay. We must not dismiss the possible Norman origin. For example, Rodolphus, fear of Normandy, was listed there in 1180, blah, blah, blibbity, on down, okay? Early history, Farr family, blah, blah, blah. See, and that's the difficulty, is that after a certain time, or I mean before a certain time period, there's no more records. So how do you track something down like that? Well, you have to be hardcore like my dad and be, sit there for hours and hours and hours looking. Hmm? And then you get worried. Oh, people judge you for your ancestry, and put you down and whatever, and call you bad, whatever it is, doesn't matter, This will be interesting. Look this up. Parmalee. Ooh. Because you only see like your initial surname, and that's English yet again. Okay, most likely. All right. Parmalee, the surname Parmalee was first found in Yorkshire, where they held a family seat as lords of the manor. Saxon influence of English history diminished, after the Battle of Hastings in 1066. So, language of the courts was French for the next 3 centuries. Whoa. See, and there comes in the French override of last names. You would have had to have a French name in order to even exist in that world. Imagine. Okay. Let us see and get it real close. So as I say, I'm making a point on Rydberg because let's just say there was some negative things said about that last name, and I'm saying it's a general name like Smith or something. How do you know what the origin of that person's last name is? Catch what I'm saying? When you jump to conclusions and judge people for their last name, you got to be careful with that, in my opinion, because you could offend someone, make them think like they're trash or something, or I don't know, whatever. All right, I'm going to go back. What's funny is I've got a Gibson in my family. Mel Gibson, that last name, whatever. I just think that's funny. But Gibson guitars is what I was thinking of. Check this name out. Rufus Easton Gibson. Wow. Rufus, 1819 to 1860. This is all my dad's side here. Yep. Nelson, straight up there. Let's look up Nelson here and do it. You're like, we'll know everything about you. God damn it. The people that want to know already goddamn know. That just, figure out your full name and start looking your shit up, man. And like, yep, we're going to discover something. We're getting it. And I'm like, okay, goddamn it, I guess. The history of the name Nelson begins with the Anglo-Saxon tribes of Britain, yet again. It is derived from a patronymic name created from the given name Nell, or the Irish Niall. The name, okay, never mind. I'll say it. The name is also listed, okay, baptismal name, the son of Eleanor, okay, whatever. And saying all this Christian overwrite, how do you get back to the original, you know what I'm saying? It becomes difficult. All right, now we're going to look up wood, because that's pretty damn close. That's like my grandmother's mother. Okay. So you'd get different name origins, right? Okay, here we go. Oh, baby. So woods are found in England and Scotland. Ready? Ancestors of the Wood family immigrated to England following the Norman conquest in 1066. See, that caused so much shit. They brought their family name with them. They lived in Leicestershire. Further research showed the name was derived from the Old English word woad, meaning wood, and indicates that the original bearer lived near a wood. So there you go, Robert Wood or Robin Wood, right? Anyway, moving down. Oh, yeah. I thought that one of the last names was really interesting. That was McHugh, because McHugh held on to a pagan element. It's associated with the pagan god. All right. So that's pretty cool. Huh? Now, you're going to look it up. They're like, I don't know. They're like, I won't date you. It's Irish. I have to look at your chart, maybe. And then I'll tell you. Okay. Here we go. The surname McHugh in Ireland have evolved from the Gaelic Aodha, okay, Aodha, which means son of Aod, or son of Hugh. But you see, that has a pagan origin. They don't tell you that in the description. All right. The surname McHugh was first found in Connacht, Irish Connachta, land of the descendants of Conn, where they held a family seat from very ancient times. Kaboom. It is so old, they do not know how old it is. Huh. Yeah. Kaboom. Oh. See, but I noticed something they didn't mention, the pagan origin of that name. So what I'm going to do is cross-reference Hugh. Alrighty, I'm going to do it. Ooh, interesting. There's another explanation here. Hugh, Germanic word meaning heart and mind. Let us see. Boom. Yeah. Oh, Hugh Hefner reference here. So sorry to disappoint. Yeah, here it is. So Hugh is related to, from the old Irish name Aed, which meant fire. This was a very popular name in early Ireland, being borne by numerous figures in Irish mythology and several high kings. Has been traditionally anglicized as Hugh. So, Aod, going back into that. And I've always had this connection with fire. Really. Even when I was younger, there was a big fire and nearly took out my house. My brother had been playing with matches in the chicken coop. And so we thought, oh, we'd put it out. We're just messing around in hay. Everybody leaves, go to church, come back. Chicken coop's torched. Goddamn garage is torched. And the house is, our neighbors spraying the house with a hose. That's the only reason the house didn't go. Yeah. I thought, man, my dad is going to kill me. Never did. Never laid a hand on me. But it was amazing. It was, we didn't do it on purpose. So, let's see. Aod, male given name, originally meaning fire. Feminine forms of the name include Theodonate, okay, appearance of surname, going down. Here it is. So you have O, which is ancestor, descendant of, right? Yeah. Mac meaning son of, so. The name was originally related to an Irish god of the underworld. The masculine given name Hugh is a common anglicized blobbity down there. Anyway, Hugin and Mugen, I don't know, maybe. That's pretty cool. Alrighty. Interesting. Anything else? Nope. But that's interesting. Yeah. People don't realize the origin of names. They don't look it up. You know what I mean? You wear a name, but you don't know. Right? Go look up Stevens, since that's my dad's last name, given to me through him. But I think I would be Stevenson Larson, right? Mom's side. See, this is where you question what's up. Stevens is one of the names that was brought to England in the wave of migration, so it'd be Fitzstephens, really, because it's a PH, right? So it'd be, everybody says Stevens, but that's not really how you would say it. You would say Stephens. So maybe I'll be Robert Frank Stephens. That makes sense, right? A wave of migration following the Norman conquest of 1066. Interesting. Saying during migrations is when names change. Oh, yeah. Stephen's family name comes from the ancient personal name, Stephen meaning crown, wreath, or garland. Early origins. The surname Stephens was first found in Gloucestershire, where they were descended from Fitzstephen, a Breton knight, who was conjecturally descended from Count Stephen of Brittany, and accompanied William the Conqueror into England, fought at the Battle of Hastings, 1066. Okay, I don't know how far my relation would go to this, you know what I'm saying? It's like basic history. Stephen Fitz-Erard was the captain of the Mora, the ship which brought William the Conqueror over from Normandy. I don't know. Robert Fitzstevens was a Welsh soldier of Norman descent and one of the leaders of the Norman invasion of Ireland. I don't know. You're like, no. Then you're like, I'm the bad guys. No, shit. No, just kidding. I'm not, This, I have a saying, no matter what your ancestors did, you have a personal choice to choose the direction forward. Like your mom and dad could have made shit decisions like me. I don't want to be associated with Mormonism, but I love my dad and he was folkish. So do I just say, hate my family, hate everybody? That would be stupid. So I say, okay, I claim the ancestral heritage, but I don't accept your religion. But that is what I've said openly, direct. My mom knows that. I don't hide that from my family at all. My dad knew that. That's why he told me, he goes, Robert, we're descended from Druids. And I said, really? He said, yep. And the way he said it to me, there was no BS about it. I was like, that kind of makes sense to why I am the way I am. But then you have like this English last name and you're like, okay, well, that's not all there is. It gets to a point of trying to track down what the connections are, That's part of healing myself and showing respect to my dad. And I think that's why folk culture is such a big deal to me. I take it personal, It's what I have left to go after, because my dad's gone. I can't have him back. But he was definitely not like these people. He was from out of state, He wasn't raised in this shit from birth. Yeah. And now these people here, they're freaking out. And I was like, what would happen if I was thinking about this. What would happen if, say, there was another huge earthquake, right? And the Salt Lake Temple dropped into this sinkhole, fucking disappeared. I'd be like, would I care? Not really. Did my family survive? Yes. Okay, well, I don't care about the building, whatever. You're like, that doesn't sound very nice. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I hate organized religion. God damn it. I've had to deal with that goddamn shit my whole life. Tired of it. That's why I said, all right, grandmother, grandfather, and that's the true way. Show me the way, you're wise, and screw the rest of this shit. I'm going this direction. The funniest thing with Mormonism is that they teach you can become a god and a goddess in the afterlife. I'm like, that sounds really pagan to me. So like, okay, screw it. It's the end of the world anyway. Here's my full name. Bam, here's my channel. Love you, Dad. Here it is. My English last name. Bam. So I look it up, and it was funny because, let's see. There's an actor who plays Sherlock Holmes. What's the same last first and last name? Same last name spelling? Robert Stevens. And I'm like, God damn it, that fits me to a T. Oh, like Sherlock Holmes. Oh my God. I was like, I better put my full name up here. These people are going to think I'm a nutbag. Too late. Oh, yeah, damn. Everybody knows I'm crazy. Oh, well. Everything is on lockdown. I was tripping on that shit. I'm like, God damn. Every institution shut down. Whoa. And there's only one conclusion. You know, this is a huge stunt. Huge. Worldwide. This is pushing the button. This is showing how much power like certain groups have. I'm not joking, man. You see it. They literally have so much influence. All they got to do is say, there's a disease, you can shut down everything. All the goddamn borders. We're talking no proms, no fucking graduations. Whoa. And I'm looking at this as an older person. You know, I'm 44. Compared to 20, I'm fucking grandpa, all right? Just saying. So these people who've grown up, the younger generations, with all this text, right? That's all they know. So now it's like, everything will be on YouTube. You will live on goddamn YouTube. What do we do? I don't know. We're just going to have fucking virtual reality folk circle. What can we do, man? But I look at it like, if you give in to fear, you're kind of inviting disease, right? Wow. I'm just wondering. What is the future direction, you know? I'm like, at the beginning of the year again, I'm like, this is going to be major shit this year. It's a presidential election. It's 2020. Bam. So what is 2020? Everything to the elite is symbolic. 2020 has to do with vision, clear sight. All the different symbologies. Like here, we're a conservative state, and Utah was known for being like a big Trump supporter, whatever. And here, lo and behold, the trumpet falls off the Moroni statues. Is this not obvious shit to people? But then I'm like, okay, I have to go through my routine. And they're like, oh, praise. So their big conferences, they have all these goddamn people that come out for it. That's gone. Everything gone. Consider that. Wow. They can't gather in more than a group of 10. So they're going to have like their little Mormon coven groups. I know I sound like an asshole, but I can't help it. Part of me is celebrating. I'm like, yeah, no more bullshit. Yeah, but then everybody's shut down, It's like a true liberal was not what this modern Advent horseshit was. It meant you do yours, I do mine. Otherwise, leave me the hell alone. It's true. So I'm like, I guess we'll just have to connect on the astral realm. What are we going to do? There's nothing left. Oh, God. Oh, my God. What are we going to do? Because it's like, what happened? There was some major shit going on, like all that, the earthquake in Croatia, the studying of the Slav epic. I'm talking about it again. Because I was studying all of that, like sovereignty of the land, the goddess, and all this stuff, all through February, right? And I wasn't paying attention to all the COVID BS and all that shit, whatever. Apparently, it started last year, okay? But it didn't become a big thing until this year, No, I'm in the pump. So it's like any kind of big ass demonstrations are shut down. Now, if these guys go out and say nutbag out, they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go, rebel and have a protest, whatever. These officers and these military guys are gonna have about enough of the shit, and then it's just done, And so I'm like, okay. This is kind of a preemptive to like martial law, right? I grew up in a way where I was aware of that from an early age, that I knew that's how the world worked, in that the elites run shit, voting is bullshit, okay, for one, and everything's done in the Masonic lodges, and that's the end of the goddamn fucking statement. And that is why Trump went to Scotland before he became president. Because you're sworn in, this is my opinion, of course, in the lodges before you become president. You are selected by your group. So then I said, all right, we're living in Back to the Future 2, and goddamn Biff is president. He stole the goddamn almanac. I mean, is that not symbolic for reality? Think about that for a second. If you could rig the markets, then you can drive the markets up and drive them down at will. And I think these guys are that powerful that they can fucking do that worldwide. That's how much control they have financially. So I'm like, okay, well, shit. What's going to happen? Are we just going to like be the goddamn time machine, the Morlocks, and then you have like the Uber vamps that feed off of all the lower class people. That's what it already is, you know what I mean? So it's like, are we living in Blade, the familiars and shit? This has been my view of reality for quite a while. Oh, like Underworld is the real reality, and then, the rest of the commoners don't know and whatever. And then, like, will we like have these uber elites that are like immortals, or like I considered that. Like, what if there were like a group of people that had like stolen the secrets to immortality or something? I don't know. Or they're like serving some like suckler in the astral realm, you know what I mean? And they just kind of attach themselves to a planet and then just, set up and feed off people. Seems like it, And if you're giving into fear, then that's lowering your frequency, right? Now, if they feed off fear and pain, then they use fear and pain, right? So they can hold that, like, let's say an energy or like a little pill that they would give you, right? Throw energy at you into your heart, throw pain in your heart, or maybe even use your own energy against you. Is this what happens? Yeah. In the dark side it does, but I'm not dark side. Nope, I'm folk soul, love my tribe. But then they're like, oh, well, you have energy because you're connected to that. Maybe we should, then they want to attack that because why? Because true love is a threat, because true love will not betray. Therefore, they cannot use people to their advantage who are that way. Not at the top level to be an uber suckler or a vampire or something, That's how I look at it. Social vampirism, pretty much. That's what it is. And I think about it like we were just playing like freely in the woodland, and we're just like, hi ho, and we're in there, we're chilling. And we weren't thinking, oh God, let's fucking dominate the goddamn world. Well, hey, you want to go fishing today? I thought about that too in context to Nordic people, wondering why they have immune disorders when they don't eat fish. What was the majority of our diet? You know what I'm saying? Would be fish and whatever we could catch in the woodland or whatever. More than likely, like deer or stag and all that shit. So that would have become sacred, but what does it symbolize? Sovereignty on the land, because that is an earth-based creature in fusion with the forest, because the antlers represent like branches of a tree going up, right? To me it does. That's how I see it. I think the answer is to become more in tune with just your natural self, rather than you kind of get stuck into this system of I am professional. What the hell does that mean? In folkish world, that does not even compute to me. There's doing a good job, and you've got to do this, got to get the work done. Not everybody wants to personally connect with you, you know what I'm saying? They just want to get shit done. But there still would have been an element of honor and of your word meaning something. Let's say pre-written word, you said you would do something and then you didn't do it, then your standing in the community would immediately go down, right? Of course. Because then you would have a reputation of being a shit stain. Just saying. So it's like, who do you want around you? Slick talkers or people that back up what they say and follow through. That's how I am. But I find more than not, people would rather have the veneer of honesty than actual honesty. Right? Still. Maybe that'll be the stone that went through Balor's eye. That's what it feels like. But I think there's a lot of symbology in those stories. It's like the eye that watches everyone. And where it just becomes about maintaining more power, but there's no love, right? And as I boiled it down, the base element is true love. And then I decided, okay, let's say I'm being attacked by the dark side. As long, no matter what it is, no matter how long it lasts, even if they try to possess my body, I could be like, true love is all I accept, and if you are not that, I don't accept you. Right? But it's like a added deception of manipulation, right? So pain being used as a mechanism for manipulation, right? Or sexual energy, pleasure, whatever. But your heart is blocked. So they block your heart from sensing what's going on, because true love should be linked to what? How you make babies. Difference between making love and just effing someone, right? Big difference. So that's how I see it, because true love will keep the family going, and whatever. Where a user just fucks you and then leaves. What the hell is the point? They're getting something out of it, but they don't care how you feel, right? And that's wrong, in my opinion. So holding ground means, and this is the hardest part, it seems so simple, but it's the biggest challenge of all. So I was saying about Robin Hood and true love being the core essence of that and how I embody that. But I could be distracted, right? You get sucked into loneliness and other things, and you can get pulled into bad behavior, being around people who don't really care about you. That includes like getting overly focused on money, whatever, because then you look to the away from the bad behavior and you accept them, and then you corrupt the process. So I look at that, moving forward, I would rather have, again, a small group of people that I trust completely, 100%, rather than having a huge, big group of people and I don't even know who they are. That's why I was hoping, somebody would message me or something, because I'm not going to sit there and spam you. What do you think I put that suit jacket on? I was making a statement. Didn't you figure that out? That I'm not some scrounge, right? At least I know how to dress well if I want to. But shit, I'm in the backyard, I'm I just don't give a shit about any of that. I saw that in the whole Mormonism culture where it's suit and tie 24/7, and it was cardboard, Bill. It was boring to me. I was like, well, you can still dress nice, but have some creativity behind what you're doing, right? And moving forward, I really feel that folk culture is the center of everything I am doing. And that was so funny. Like somebody comes up to you and they go, aren't you worried that the devil could influence you? And I said, no, because I don't believe in the devil. I look at it like this: human beings make choices. And they can be devils, right? This describes whatever bullshit. But really what it is those who choose love and those who do not. It's that simple. Either you choose to love your family and be honorable, or you do not. And there is no in between. But the deception is in that you go through this cycle of thinking somehow you can avoid responsibility, because pleasure feels better than the pain that is required to endure to receive wisdom. But that doesn't mean that pain itself needs to be forever. But if we made a mistake, sometimes you have to face that pain first before you can let it go. But with traumatized people, they get fractaled out mentally because the pain is so high that they can't function any other way. They learn that pleasure is the only thing, and that's where the loneliness aspect comes in, where you give into that versus saying, no, I'm going to accept that that is not love, and that I would rather be alone and have peace than to be constantly seeking pleasure to fill the hole that is not even filled by the fact of self-love. I'm saying I love myself enough to say no. So that is something I've been working on for a long time, and just say, whatever. If I'm alone, then that's what it is, but at least I'm honorable in what I'm doing. And so in the sight of my grandparents, I can hold my head up and say that I'm being honorable. And that is the hardest part, is to hold that ground no matter what. And they would, trip you up, get you to do, things that are dishonorable to your tribe or yourself. And then that kind of opens up holes in your aura. But that's my opinion. And it is an ongoing challenge. But I feel like if you're making your strongest effort, that your ancestors will come to your aid. But if you're being a no honor having douchebag, then I don't think so. They're going to let you suffer until you learn your lesson. And then I really feel even the ones that were overly corrupted, I don't think that the central seed, their folk soul seed, as I would say, their seed root, ever disappears. I don't think that's ever destroyed. If it came from grandmother, it is forever. That's how I feel. And I also think Christianity is backwards, where they place the masculine principle over all. No. My view is, and I've said it before, is grandmother is uplifted by grandfather because he says so. He loves her that much. And that is why she's elevated, not because she's some power hungry, whatever. She doesn't have to accept that position. But if she loves, then she will. Right? And she would be uber over all of that. And then we started losing our wise women, or people, they stopped honoring that. And I really feel that is when things started falling apart. Or you are worshiping the young, beautiful prostitute image versus the ancient grandmother of high honorable status and all of this, Like with at the well and the three warriors I described in there, it's the Morrigan in disguise. And she represents the sovereignty of the land, goddess of sovereignty yet again. And so here I was studying all of that, and lo and behold, all this stuff associated with sovereignty of the land is popping off. There is symbology having to do with what is happening currently. So 9 years from now, as I've stated, will be 100 years since the 1929 crash. Let's look that up. And I think all of this history is layered. And Great Depression. What do I feel? Now, this was something that was described to me, okay? During the Great Depression era, you had something like, 80% small business, 20% big business. That is now flipped to 10 to 20% max small business, and now 80 to 90% big business. So without working the math too much, what happened? Just saying. What happened was it got bought out by bigger and bigger, more aggressive people until those families were the only dominant families left. That is what's up. This is a consolidation of the entire earth. Due to my observation, that's my opinion. All right. The Great Depression was a severe worldwide economic depression that took place mostly during the 1930s. Beginning in the United States, the timing of the Great Depression varied across the world. This is from wikipedia.org. Okay. Let's see. The Great Depression varied across the world in most countries. Started in 1929, lasted till the 1930s. It was the longest, deepest, and most widespread depression of the 20th century. I remember hearing stories about lard soup and, the shit people had to eat just to survive, right? The Great Depression is commonly used as an example of how intensely the global economy can decline. Is that not what's up? So what they've done is to shut down economy in many ways, but also to engineer everything to be more and more online. So if you want to interact with people, you are going to have to go online. That's what's up, right? Or don't go online, and you have to seek people out on foot, whatever. Okay, the Great Depression started in the United States after a major fall in stock prices that began around September 4th, 1929. Should we be watching that date? Yes. It became worldwide news with the stock market crash of October 29th, 1929. Here we go. Known as Black Tuesday. Between 1929 and 1932, worldwide gross domestic product fell by an estimated 15%. Okay. By comparison, worldwide GDP fell by less than 1% from the 2008-2009. Remember that big bailout in the 2008? Well, it was like a big money grab, whatever. Some economies started to recover by the mid-1930s. Right. So they had been engineering the crash. Right. That's my opinion. I think it's all engineered. Right. Leading up to, so this would have been driven toward war. You would have been desperate. You would have had no other choice. You want to survive, you got to join the military, right? However, in many countries, the negative effects of the Great Depression lasted until the beginning of World War II. Why did they go to war and do World War II? To take more power. Got it? The Great Depression had devastating effects in both rich and poor countries. Personal income tax, revenue, profits, and prices dropped. Yep. Or what? Inflation goes up. Then you like wheelbarrow full of money just to buy a goddamn one little loaf of bread or something. Unemployment rose to 23%. Let's see. So now all of these restaurants, since I've worked a lot in the restaurant industry, are order out only. So now the company I used to work for, Utah Foods, is shut down. Whoa. Yeah. That has never happened. I had worked there for years. They've been in the Salt Palace, for, I don't know, God, 20 years, maybe longer. Amazing. Probably even before that, 30 years. So it's like the major shift is that businesses the common way of life could be over. This shows you how quickly shit changes. Just based on whether it is real or it is a perceived threat. Right? The Great Depression had devastating effects in both rich and poor countries. Okay, we saw that. Going down. So everything repeats. You watch history. It is done. It's like they are working on, let's say, large magical rites from the past. I'm not talking for positive purpose either, in my opinion. You're talking, or what they call the Great Rite. And that great ritual is what that refers to. No country of origin, whatever, just, that's what it is. Start. Timeline of Great Depression. You watch the timeline, you're going to see similarities. That's what I'm thinking. Economic historians usually consider the catalyst of the Great Depression to be the sudden, devastating collapse of the U.S. stock market prices starting October 24th. So we got to watch October, right? 1929. However, some dispute this conclusion and see the stock crash as a symptom rather than a cause of the Great Depression. Now, remember, of course, you have Titanic going down, right? Now, that's connected. Causes. Two classic competing economic theories of the Great Depression are the Keynesian, demand-driven, and monetarist explanations. Super, they're getting into economics. Now, I'm going to get into the Federal Reserve here in a little second here. Oh shit, of course, there it is, right when I said it. Oh my God. All right. Monetarist. Monetarist explanation was given by American economist Milton Friedman and Anna J. Schwartz. They argued that the Great Depression was caused by the banking crisis that caused 1/3 of all banks to vanish. Whoa, that's consolidation. Huh? 33 and 66. Interesting. Reduction of bank shareholder wealth and, more importantly, monetary contraction, 35%, so on and so forth, going down the line. Ooh, Ben Bernanke. Huh? Ooh, here it is. It's a quote. Let me end my talk by abusing slightly my status as an official representative of the Federal Reserve. Now, remember, the Federal Reserve is an internationally held company. So the board of directors is international. Would like to say to Milton and Anna, so it is a corporation, right? That's right. Regarding the Great Depression, you're right, we did it. We're very sorry, but thanks to you, we won't do it again. Bullshit. Because that's what's up. In my opinion, that's what's happened. Using fear as motivation. Because it's not based in love. Catch me? Federal Reserve allowed some large public bank failures. Particularly, like, right, 2008, that happened. Particularly that of the New York Bank of the United States, which produced panic and widespread runs on local banks. So you remember the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists? Like, there were those people that wanted a Bank of the United States and those who wanted a private bank. Well, the private people won. The Federal Reserve sat idly by while banks collapsed. That's because it was planned. Friedman and Schwartz argued that if the Fed had provided emergency lending to these key banks, they purposely pulled funding to consolidate power. Hello. This is showing you right here, this is how they operate. Simply bought government bonds on the open market to provide liquidity. Now, what do we also have going on right now? We have the $1,200 a person stipend. Where did all that goddamn money come from? Right? Economic stimulus, whatever. No, I'm like, whoa. Now, moving along. Provide liquidity and increase the quantity of money. So what's that? Depreciation. Now, if you are holding gold and silver and you have pulled that out of the markets, and the markets now are based still on gold and silver, even though you cannot take a Federal Reserve note and exchange it for gold. You have to buy that with the promissory note because it doesn't have any solidity to it whatsoever. With significantly less money to go around, businesses could not get new loans. Boom. Consolidation of business, buying up small businesses, taking over. Let's see. One reason why the Federal Reserve did not act to limit the decline of the money supply was the gold standard. Boom. At that time, the amount of credit the Federal Reserve could issue was limited by the Federal Reserve Act, which required 40% gold backing of Federal Reserve notes issued. I mean, that meant they had to be holding gold on hand in order to issue money. Late 1920s, the Federal Reserve had almost hit the limit of allowable credit. See, so that could be backed by the gold in its possession. This is why gold was pulled out, so they could further expand. Okay. So what is that? 3-card money on a spread. It's a scam. It's a con game. This credit wasn't, in my opinion, of course, this credit was in the form of Federal Reserve demand notes. A promise of gold is not as good as gold in the hand. Yep, sounds like something my dad would say. Particularly when they had only had enough gold to cover 40%. That means that if they made a run on the bank, they did not have the gold to pay it out. So here we go. 1933. Ooh, we're getting down to some shit now. On April 5th, 1933, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102, making the private ownership of gold, certificates, coins, and bullion illegal. Whoa. Remember, 33 has to do with the 33 vertebrae in the spine, the raising of the Kundalini energy directly associated with Freemasonic origin. That does not mean Kundalini energy is Masonic. It means that's what they're using. They know that. They understand what chakras and energy and all this shit is. So it's like knowing the systems in your body like a car. Right? Every overlaid system, your nervous system, your whatever. And then they've learned that. Now, let's say you're a dark side person. Holy shit. They can target your nerve centers, shut you down. Now, that's my opinion. Okay, I'm going to stop there. How are they connected? Directly. It's all energy, man. Reducing the pressure on Federal Reserve gold. Yeah. I think I've kind of made my point, right? So let's see. 1913 is what we're going to look up next. And that's the establishment of the Federal Reserve. So 2013 was the 100-year anniversary, correct? Now, who do you think's running all this shit? Who's the top end of the economy? Who's the big dog? Got it? I don't have money, so I can talk about this. But if, the powers that be that are financial decide they're going to do shit, they're just going to do it. And they have the power to do it. Right? The Great Depression was a severe worldwide economic depression that took place mostly during the 1930s. Or back again. Okay, never mind. I'm the wrong one. Okay, got to type it in. I put in 1913, and that's what came to what showed up. Okay. All right. Gotta hit enter. Ooh, yeah. Baby. Okay, May 1913. Getting it. Ooh, almost there. Oh, yes, Jekyll Island. Now I remember that Jim Mars died. And he was a major researcher into, Jekyll Island and conspiracy stuff, whatever, Let's see. But that's where they went. Now you pay attention to numbers, okay? 47, the 47th problem of Euclid is directly associated with Freemasonic, practice. So you will see specific names and numbers, birth and death dates, all of that, media, blah, blah, blah. It's all tied into gematria, all right? One, A being 1, Z being 26, that's English ordinal. Then you have reduction, okay? And you have reverse English ordinal, which means Z becomes 26, A becomes 26, Z becomes 1. So that's reversed, right? And you have multiple ciphers. You get Francis Bacon's cipher, all these different ciphers. And this is what they're using, in my opinion, of course, all right? And that modern English was overlaid and encoded, including the Bible. That's why I have zero faith in anything to do with that, because I know it is bullshit, right? And you realize that and you go, whoa, that makes sense. Yes, social manipulation. Joseph Atwell talked about that. Caesar's Messiah, right? Yep. But these people are not going to get it. All right. See. Long used seasonally. Okay. Jekyll Island is located off the coast of U.S. state of Georgia in Glynn County. It is one of the Sea Islands and one of the Golden Isles, Georgia barrier islands. Now, I might also add that when the Federal Reserve was established, there was a recess, and that only a small group of people actually made that choice. Anyway, as far as I know, let's see. Long used seasonally by indigenous peoples of the region beginning in the colonial era. Some of its lands became privately owned. Yeah. Who owned that land? Huh. If I remember, Ellis Island is right off New York. Oh, wait. No, it isn't. What am I doing? I'm dumb. I gotta focus. Glynn County, Georgia. Brunswick, Georgia. But remember the note, the establishment date, October 7th, 1947. Yeah. Now, moving down. Let's see if it holds up any history on Federal Reserve establishment. Jekyll Island Club Historic District. And moving down, looking. There's quite a history behind it. Arrival of Europeans, 1510 explorers from Spain. Now remember that the US dollar is based on the Spanish dollar. Jekyll Island Club. Bignon purchased the rest. There's the name. Bignon purchased the rest of the island from his siblings. With the help of his brother-in-law, Newton Finney, and an investor. They don't say who the investor was yet. Their plan to market the island as a winter retreat for the wealthy, Epstein, came to fruition on February 17th, 1886, decided to construct a clubhouse, which was completed in, here's the number, this is significant, January 1888. You see triple numbers like that, you know there's generally an occult reference. 53 members purchased shares for $600 each. A limit of 100 members was imposed by the preserve the club's exclusivity. From 1888 to 1942, the club opened every January. Now remember, this happened during, the winter break or something. That's when they went and voted in the Federal Reserve, 1913, I do think so. Winter season, except a few years, there are yellow fever outbreaks. Interesting. Corona. Interesting. It accommodated some of the world's wealthiest people. I don't know if it's connected. Most likely it is. Members and their families enjoyed activities such as biking, hunting, horseback riding, and so on and so forth, right? So it's like a big country club for rich people. All right. The state of Georgia bought the island in 1947. History of the Federal Reserve System. Kaboom, we're getting into some shit now. Planning of the Federal Reserve System. At the end of November 1910, Senator Nelson W. Aldrich and Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Treasury Department, A. Piott Andrew, and 5 of the country's leading financiers. Here it is. These are probably the top enders, right? Frank Vanderlip, Henry P. Davison, Benjamin Strong, and Paul Warburg. Yeah, that's a big name. Arrived at the Jekyll Island Club to conduct a secret meeting to plan the country's monetary policy and banking system. That's why I'm saying it is a worldwide consolidation. That's what I feel about what's going on. Building up to World War III, which will depopulate large areas with disease and war and whatever. But disease would be the easiest way because that way they can take the land, right? And if they have an immunity to the disease, then it wouldn't matter, would it? They'd just wait it out. I don't know. If you're an evil genius, that might be the case. Formulating during the meeting, the Federal Reserve as America's next central bank. And man, there were people that were, they probably assassinated over this shit, or attempted assassinations, right? According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, the 1910 Jekyll Island meeting resulted in draft legislation for the creation of a U.S. central bank. See, they will fight wars over this shit. Parts of this draft, the Aldrich Plan, so he's the brain, were incorporated into the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. Yeah. So now we're going to click on Federal Reserve Act. Go into that. Yeah, baby. Now we're pulling some serious weight. The Federal Reserve Act, and this is all Wikipedia, everything I'm talking about. The Federal Reserve Act was passed by the 63rd United States Congress and signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson on December 23rd, 1913. Yeah. Winter solstice. Overlay, overwrite, baby. Yeah. All right. The law created the Federal Reserve System, the central banking system of the United States. The Panic of 1907. So that happened before that 1910 date. Yes, it did. Convinced many Americans of the need to establish a central banking system, which the country had lacked since the Bank War of 1830. See, this has been going on, right? After Democrats won unified control of Congress and the presidency in the 1912 elections. That was big. That was right before that happened, right? So 2 years earlier, they've got a meeting about the Federal Reserve. 3 years later, three significant, right? President Wilson, Congressman Carter Glass, and Senator Robert Latham Owen crafted a central banking bill that occupied a middle ground between the Aldrich Plan. Okay, anyway, you get what I'm saying. Dates are important. Now, Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, commonly known as the Federal Reserve Board, is the main governing body of the Federal Reserve. Yes, but it doesn't state whether or not, that is international in origin or whatever. So now you have elites controlling the banking system from the beginning. And I would guess to say those people are the ones pulling all the strings. Because they always have. Current members. The current members of the Board of Governors, interesting, are as follows. Jerome Powell, chairman. Okay. He kind of looks like Ron Paul a little bit. All righty. Moving down, Richard Clarida. Okay, whatever. Big power, business people. Randall Quarles, Lael Brainard, and Michelle Bowman. Okay, anyway. Vacant, 2024 and 2030. So she's in power till 2034. The last lady, Michelle Bowman. The other lady, Lael, is until 2026. So I'm looking at the dates. 2021, 2032, all of these are in the 20s. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nominated members. President Donald Trump had nominated Marvin Goodfriend and Nellie Leong to fill the remaining 2 vacancies for the Federal Reserve. Goodfriend and Liang had Senate Banking Committee hearings, and Goodfriend received a committee vote, a large vote, in my opinion, but because more than likely, most of this, you have an overlay, right? Where you hold a political office, but you are also a high-level Mason. So it's like, let there be no illusions. In order to be in politics, you have to serve Freemasonry. That's just reality. Okay, I'm going to switch back. Is there any other reality, right? So what is this all about? In my opinion, it's all about consolidation. Setting the tone, moving forward, right? So this can, they can ratchet it up. Okay, let's say they test it out for this first month, right? And then they're like, okay, the scare's down, no worries, right? And everybody kind of drops their guard and all of that shit. And then it's like, the tactics are not going to change, right? I've known this for years. I don't know. God, how long? 25 years at least. That's why I don't care about politics. I see it as irrelevant. The power people control that, and without a counterbalance, that's grandmother vulva, like I was saying, planet of the vulvas. It's the only thing I could think of. Like, it has to be a more powerful force than the opposition, or it's like trying to use a stick against a tank. You're going to lose every time. That's why generally I just stay away from that. I already know a lot of this stuff is common knowledge, right? Now, in the 90s, it wasn't. The internet was there, but it was nowhere near what it is now. Now it has become the dominant culture, and that's what's happening. Is tech has become dominant. So why live in the illusion? What can we say? We can internalize our folk culture and virtues. What other purpose is there? I don't see it. And Christianity's bullshit, so how can you know what I mean? It's like a contrived reality where you forget where you came from. Or you're not even concentrating because you had to focus on base survival for so many years, you have nothing left. It's not a fair fight. You basically put people in a desperate situation, and then you make loud sounds to make them do what you want. That's it. So it's just puppeteering. It doesn't mean shit. That is why I've gotten to the point, this last presidential election was the last election that I will ever vote in. That is how corrupted I feel everything is, to the point where I feel like the common person does not have a say. You have the appearance of a say, But ultimately, the elites will do what the elites want to do. They have the power to do it. They have the tech, they have everything. We don't have shit. So either, maintain your integrity or you join their, their program. But Freemasonry is encoded in every part of every economy in the world because of banking. And money is an occult document. What's that mean? It is connected to a great rite, great ritual. And that only benefits a certain group of people. The elite. Notice that I didn't necessarily tie that to a race. I tied it to a behavior. It's the behavior I dislike, right? Not any specific racial group. It's not caring about any other tribes to the point of that level of selfishness where they become like cattle, And how do we live on the earth without warlord mentality? And that is what it is. It's just dressed up in a nice fancy suit. But you have two methods. One is coming from a place of love. That was folk culture. My opinion, of course. And then you have dominance, where one group lives high off the hog, getting first pick on everything, and everybody else gets the scraps. And that's the reality. So it's like, if they decide to say, let loose disease everywhere, or even the fear, that could kill people. Just the fear that there's this big disease, right? It's affected my family down to like my mom won't go shopping anymore because she's, over 65. And I'm like, wow. What's my future, in 20 years when I'm 64 or whatever? So I thought, what is worth living for? Love. True love is the only thing, I don't even say thing, the only spiritual force powerful enough to combat, greed, fear, lust, all the bullshit. And they can dress it up how they want, but it's either valuing your family, right, or not. And being willing to sell them out so that you can have a better life. When you boil it down to that these are all families. So you chose loyalty to, say, an elite group versus your greater tribal family. That's the issue. That's the betrayal. But here's the trade-off. Their folk souls are going to be weak or near non-existent, but I feel like there is an original root. Okay. And they don't have to be that way. They can change. And that's what I was kind of putting out into the astral realm to these people that are doing that is, hey man, don't you want a folk soul? Don't you want love and to be included in the family circle? It's like selling your grandmother out when she's taking care of you your whole life and you're stealing out of her purse or something, It's not love. But if you're addicted, and it's all about addiction, then the feeling, the pleasure becomes more important than the base root. And that's why everything is lowered and the standards are lowered, is to lower the spiritual frequency. And that fear can be then fed on and then recycled like like a big ball of energy that's siphoned and then thrown back in any direction they want to throw it. and using the fear of the masses to control them, just as Christianity does that, you know. But that doesn't mean there aren't repercussions for choices or whatever their concepts are, you know. You know, right action. What does that imply? I'm saying RITE. And true-hearted actions. That creates a resonance of unity. Huh? What's all this fear of disease doing? It's creating separation, isolation of the majority of the masses, while the elite gather and consolidate power. Keep everybody else scrambling and desperate. Huh? Then use the best of the best, and then everybody else is just, you know, don't need it. It's chafe. They don't care. So if you're rich, what's the one last thing you have to gather? Immortality. Now let's say if they die and they're going to go to the spirit realm, where do they go if they've been assholes their entire life? Well, in my opinion, you get to go hang out in the realm of other assholes like you, because you don't have love. So what's that society based on? Aggression and dominance, right? So what happens when there's no one left to feed on? They feed on themselves until they are destroyed, because it is always about power. What does that turn into over thousands of years? Let's say they win 2,000 years later or whatever, you know. It means that they are the only ones left standing on the earth. Now, the rebuilding of the third temple, right, and the whole Christian concept, BS, whatever, they'll use that storyline, Antichrist, whatever. And I think that is what we are building up to. That's what I really feel. And I know that they were going to build that temple over there or whatever, but the Dome of the Rock's there, and that is the original housing of, say, the Knights Templar. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to just, you know, obliterate the Dome of the Rock, pretty much, and then build the third temple on top of that. Now you notice I stayed away from all the racial shit. I'm just pointing out that could be utilized as a major worldwide manipulation tool. And then if you had the technology, you could literally create a hologram. What if they figured out how to make hard light? Whoa. Yeah. Tesla conceived of mind interface. What's a virtual reality? Now, you shut down society and then everybody's like, well, there's nothing else, so I have to go to virtual reality. How easy is it to get into an undeveloped person's subconscious? Very easy. If you are, you know, what's your base root instinct? So now you can't have sex in person. So now what do? Hook up a machine to your organs, and then that's your love life? Catch where I'm going? No, thanks. Like you have like an enclave of natural humans, you know. Like I think I remember seeing, what was it? Oh yeah. Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, and they like unfroze him and like took him out, whatever. And the lady's like, oh, well, we don't have sex anymore physically. That's gross, right? So it's like, pardon me. So you put on the virtual reality equipment, and that's sexuality now. So it's totally artificial. Huh. So that seems to be what's happening So now what do? Well, I have to adapt to what's happening. If I want to stay social, then I have to have a certain level of conduct, say on YouTube, whatever. Or it becomes consolidated online, right? Or it becomes a bigger and bigger deal, where literally like your social score in China is poof, out the window. Now you can't travel. You cannot be on the internet, whatever, you know. And then there's a written record, or rather spoken record, of what my opinions are. So does that put me in a list of, say, people that are unwanted? I don't know, maybe. Then I said, how do we even survive in that situation? Well, given that politics are a bunch of bullshit, I'd say you focus on, and that's my opinion, of course, on folk culture. Otherwise, what's the point? What are you going to have left when all this shit falls apart? It's going to be what you know and who you know. And so that's why personal relationship becomes more important. And especially us who are true-hearted, living in harmony with each other rather than living in fear and separation. Because that's what's happening. Everyone's a potential untouchable or something. Hasn't gotten that bad yet. Still go to the grocery store. The moment those grocery stores shut down, it is chaos. Oh shit. People are going to go goddamn, feral. I'm not kidding. They'll get aggressive when it comes to surviving. So all the hunters are going to go hunt, but eventually, what happens when there's no more game? Right? Then you would have, say, a preserve of those animals. So what do you think the elites have? Exactly that. They have all these bases pre-covered already. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Only thing keeping us safe is the appearance of right action. Because, but how fast could, say, an electromagnetic pulse or the claim thereof just shut off the internet? Now, nobody knows what's going on. You have no way to communicate. And you're compartmentalized in your home. Now let's add on a curfew and limited food. So it's like a slow starvation. Or a weakening. Such as wise women being targeted. Why? Because if you can heal, you can resist. If you can't heal your warriors because you don't have any wise women left, then you can't fight. Wow. Grandmother's that important in the tribe? Yes. Right? Wisdom is the center. And that's what do I do? I'm not an army of one. What I'm saying. I've thought about this for a long time. That's why this is my position. I'm old comparatively to somebody in their 30s or 20s. Holding honor is paramount. And so moving forward, I've got to raise the bar. That's why I changed my channel a couple times. The name now it's just my full name. Whatever. That's what it is. I'm still Bobcat and Robin I.O., of course. But I'm putting my first name, my full name out there. Because they already know who I am. What difference does it make trying to hide? That only protects you from the common people. Your elitists already know. They want to know. And let's hire somebody. Yeah, I don't need you to research this person, and they're just going to have all the goddamn background on you, personal habits, all the shit. Because tech is so intertwined, you know, like think about like a voice activated remote. It's a microphone. How easy would it be to put a microphone in a cable box? Right? Another thought I had. Through reading or seeing images through using electromagnetic fields. You can see an image just like radar. I know, it's freaky. So let's say you're sitting in your house and you're taking a shower. Or even worse yet, you're taking a dump. I know, okay, whatever. I don't mean to be nasty, I'm just saying. And they could project a field into your house, even if you don't have tech, just like RFID, whatever. And they can see you. You go, whoa, yeah, whoa. That's not that advanced for what they could do. It makes me wonder. I'm like, God damn, what kind of like, because I think the elite have like breakaway civilizations, right? And there you would have much higher tech access than the common person. So my opinion is they already have craft, and they've had it for many years. They have anti-gravity and cloaking, but that's my opinion. You look at Star Trek, okay? Now, look at the communicator that James T. Kirk had. I got my boots on. Star Trek boots. Just kidding. No, boots, witch boots, whatever. I'd call them my witch boots when I was growing up at God's Goth. I still call them that. Yeah. Star Trek Society. So what is that? That is a placement of an idea way ahead of time. That tells me they had cell phone tech in the 60s. Now these big ass 80s, phones. They aren't going to tell everybody else. They're going to make sure they have an advantage every time. They're going to have something better than what you got. Because they're elitists. It is all about, Ubering and having the top level, whatever it is, whether that is a car, whether that is, it doesn't matter. And I think, as I said, well, stem cell research is one way, right? Basically to become immortal. But then are you feeding off the youth? It becomes vampiric, right? And they go to Indonesia or the Philippines. This is what Mel Gibson was talking about. And they go there, and he had stem cells injected into his shoulders or whatever. He had injuries to his shoulders, from whatever acting he did, physical stuff. And his dad was like 90 or something. So they're like, all right. And then I had him inject that into my dad. So lo and behold, his father, who is in his 90s, can now get a full erection. You're like, whoa, yeah. That's what we're saying. So it's like, not what I'm saying, but regeneration. Whoa. Yeah. So what happens to the rest of us on the bottom? Well, we don't get age reduction, right? Or let's say you had an autoimmune issue that could easily be treated and eliminated. Well, due to population control, you're not going to have access to that. So you got to figure that out yourself. That is where the wise woman, right? And naturopathy comes in, like Jill Janis. That's what she did. I thought it was cool. Like on her off time from being a major metal rock star, she's working in a naturopathic clinic. It's tied into her, her witchcraft and what she was doing and whatever, But to me, it's kind of like the difference between living in harmony with the earth, with the natural cycles and forces, or dominating those natural forces. And that is not honoring the sovereignty of the land, in my opinion. Anyway, with that said, I think into this conversation, and then I'll start a new one since I'm getting very close to 2 hours right now. I'm at 1 hour and 55 minutes. So I'm going to end, all right? I'll come back. Peace.